Hey guys, so we're here at my locals and I'm with Kory. He's going to show us his Deskbot deck. This is basically a FTK or OTK kind of style deck, so I'll let him explain.
Alright, let's begin. So the thing he just told you is that this deck starts off with FTK style, but I found out I can go into late game and you are not relying on your extra deck like most other decks this format. So let's just begin with, I run one, Deskbot number 1. He's mainly your tuner. If you want to go into your extra deck, you summon him. If you want a 3000 beater when you have a full field, there you go. He's pretty splashable in other machine decks, but at the same time, I only run one because I never really go into the extra. 3 Deskbot number 2s. I run these guys because this is the main combo piece into a 15,000 attack FTK. And his effect only pops off when he's special summoned and he gives every other monster on the field besides himself a 500 boost. So he helps boost attack and you can just special summon him over and over again if you know what you're doing. Number 3. Oh, by the way, number 2, you never want to see in your hand, ever. Number 3. This guy you want to see in your hand every time when you have nothing else on the field, because it's a single normal summon, a special summon, and then your combos can just go off crazy. At the end of this video, I will show you the main combo with this deck. Number 4, I have 3 of them in here, mainly because I can use them as XYZ material later in the game if I want to, but he can also attack over any monster that your opponent has by sending one Deskbot from the deck to the graveyard and upping his attack by 500 per level. So, other thing about him is that if you have one Deskbot in your graveyard, one in your hand, when he destroys a monster, you get a special summon both in defense position, but your opponent does not take any more battle damage that turn, so you have to be kind of careful. I run 2 number 5. It's a scale 10, and you can use it to destroy spells and traps on the field just by pendulum summoning him, or you can just set him in scale and wait for your opponent to pop him with MST, and you can special summon from your graveyard. Number 6. I run 2 of as well. Mainly run 2 of these guys just so I can get off my XYZs in the extra deck, and you'll see why later. When he's special summoned, you can change the battle position, all that fun stuff, and he gains attack for each face up in the extra deck. I run 2 number 7, once again XYZ material, yada yada yada. Already explained that. He's the only Deskbot monster your opponent can attack. So if you have him in defense position and just start boosting his defense, it can go crazy, plus you can go into Big Eye with this, so it's incredibly helpful. 2 number 8s. If you want to boost her attack with a couple 3s and then bring her up to about whatever you want to bring it up to, she can attack twice, so I see no downside. If you can manage to get her to 4,000, your opponent has no board, you just won game. And for the boss monster, Deskbot number 9. This guy, he's beautiful. He's beautiful. You get him out on the field by pendulum summoning him or any other way, and your opponent cannot destroy him by battle or card effects, because if they try, you can destroy one other Deskbot and he stays on the field. Plus, you can take the attack of every other Deskbot monster besides himself, add it on to his. So if he's big combo piece and getting up to 15,000. Now for non-Deskbot monsters, I run 2 Max C, draw power, and 1 Ghost Ogre. These are mainly the guys I'll side in and out for when I go in and side between in the match, but they seem to work pretty well in this build, so I keep them in there for now. Onto the spells, I run 3 Deskbot base. This is pretty much the copy of Cosmo Town. You should reveal as many Deskbot monsters as you want from your hand, shuffle, draw the same amounts, and there's a secondary effect that you will never use, so it's not really important, but if you have 9 Deskbot monsters on Deskbot cards with different names, not including base, you can banish those 9 and then shuffle every card your opponent has in their hand, field, or graveyard back into their deck. It's a hard restart and it's hard for the opponent to come back from that. I have never pulled that off, and I don't think I ever will. Run 3 machine duplications. This is your main combo piece for getting that FTK, OTK. It's beautiful. You want this, you always want this. Well, to be completely honest, no you don't. Once late game, this card kind of comes to dead draw, you can kick it down to 2, but you want to see this in your first hand. It can go wild. Next, I run 3 terraforming. It's mainly a deck thinner, and you can pretty much search out your Deskbot base to get an extra shuffle and redraw if you really need to. And then I run 2 MST, simple, destroy something on the field. You will actually sometimes use this on your own field spell if you really need to use machine duplication. 1 upstart and 1 soul charge, both pretty self-explanatory. I don't feel that there's a need to actually explain them. And of course, for the traps, I run 1 Solemn Warning, 1 Solemn Strike. I don't think those need much. That doesn't need much explanation. I run 1 Mask of Restrict. I've used this against a couple of decks. I've actually beaten another Monarch deck using this card, and nothing in this deck at all, extra deck or whatever, needs tributing, so this card doesn't hurt you whatsoever. 1 Grand Horn. In all honesty, I'd probably run the 2nd Solemn Strike versus Grand Horn, but for now it works for what I have. And 1 Breakthrough Skill, just kind of Veiler your opponent, and you can reuse it during your turn like a regular Veiler, or wait until your opponent's turn and just pop them. Alright, so that is all I have for the main deck. I will not be explaining my side deck because everybody's side deck is personal and everybody chooses different things depending on situations that they have. But for the extra deck, I run 1 Herald of the Arclight, and like I said, this entire thing, the entire extra deck is just pretty much support and tech cards, because if you go into them, you know you're in a bad spot, but they are helpful to have. So I run him just for a simple negate, and it really, really hurts Lightsworns. It's beautiful to get this guy out on a Lightsworn deck. Old Entity Historia, if you have an MST in your hand, you attack into a big monster, take the damage, and then MST it. Or you can bring out, I think, number 5 and destroy it anyways, and you get to take control of a monster. Only reason I really run him. So you run 2 Force, 1 5, TG, self-explanatory. Every time something's synchro, it just gives you a free draw if you're reversing a synchro deck. It's the only time I've ever brought him out. Yugioh Guardian. I don't like what they're doing with the new, when they're going to errata this, so you got to use an Earth. It doesn't hurt in Deskbots because they're all Earth anyways, but this guy's beautiful if you can pull him off. Steal somebody's monster, then use the effect. I've used it against Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. That's it for 6s. And I have 2 7s. 1 Clearwing, negation, 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 and Zeta. I just need another level 7 to be completely honest, and I figured he would work. And then I run 2 level 8s, Psyframe Lord Omega and Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. These 2 together are very hard to get. It's taken me forever to get these guys, and I got them actually out of this one out of a Mega Tin, and I actually just opened up a random card pack one day and got this guy, and I was so happy. I mainly use him against Blue Eyes, and this is just disruption. Alright, that's enough for my synchros. And now for my XYZs, I run 1 Abyss Dweller for the Burning Abyss matchup and a couple other matchups because it does have a nice effect. 1 Gagaga. I have actually burned my opponent's life points out just by using this one, and I don't know how I did it. I did it though. It was beautiful. I wish I could do it again. 1 Castell. Simple removal. That's it. You can also Book of Moon stuff with it. I haven't used the Book of Moon effect yet, but on to level 5. I run Cyber Dragon Nova. I like having him because, of course, you're going to go into Infinity with him, and that's just more negation. I love negating things, and all my friends hate me for that sheer fact. And into a level 7, I run Big Eye. That's self-explanatory. Last time I used him, I stole a Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon and kind of used it against them. It was grand. I loved it. And then finally, my level 8s, just in case you don't do enough damage, you can bring him out, do 2,000 directed damage, and that's pretty much all he's good for, plus the fact that once returned during either player's turn when a spell trap is activated, detach 1 XYZ, then you get it to negate, so it's got my beautiful negation effects. This deck, last tournament I went to, I actually did pretty good. I think I lost 1 game last tournament with these guys, and I misplayed horribly. Now, as I promised, I will show the quick 2-card combo that will pretty much win you a game. If you get these 2 guys, you got 11,000 monster on the field plus a full board. But if you get this, any of the pendulum scales or terraforming, and you got a 15,000 monster. Here's how it works. So first, normal summon him. You get the special summon of number 2. Number 2 searches for anything. I usually go for 5 or 6 for this one. Bring it to hand. Play machine dupe on him. Special summon out 2 more. You get 2 more searches. It's graveyard. 2 more searches, which means you bring out your opposite scale. So you would bring out him. I like these guys because if they get destroyed by twin twisters or whatever, they got the secondary effects. And so there's your first search, and then you bring out 9 with the other search. At this point, you would activate this, activate pendulum scales, and then pendulum summon number 9. If your opponent has a face-up attack position monster, you activate number 3 on here with the pendulum scales here and here, 3 on here. So with his effect activated and Deskbot number 3, he goes up to 15,000. No matter what attack position monster they have, you got game. No effects can be activated, no nothing, so you don't got to worry about mirror forces, which my friend Todd, the one playing these, loves playing mirror forces. I'm looking at you, Todd. But this card, once I get this off, my friends see it going off, and they pretty much want to scoop because there's nothing they can do. Of course, it's very fragile in the beginning because if you play this, it gets Veilered or Breakthrough Skilled. Your entire combo dies. But at the same time, this deck, the way I've built it, it can go early game, late game, mid game. It can do all, and it can still do some severe damage. So if you feel like playing this, guys, make sure to make it your own. You can use this exact build if you really want, but as always, I will recommend you tune it to make it into what you like to play. That's all. Have a great day.
Thank you, Kory.